bust out this last hour here. So I need a volunteer. Someone that hasn't been up here yet. Gentry, you want to come up? Have you done Flex before? Yeah. That didn't sound like, yeah, sure, come on. Yeah, we need Rio here with a little theme music. Eye of the Tiger as he's coming up. All right, so basically what we're going to do is we're going to, yeah, you go ahead and sit down. We're going to talk about Google finding your celebrity doppelgangers. No, we're not going to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to make this nice bar down here at the bottom using Flex. All right, so what I've just done in the code is set up, just an unordered list here at the bottom and put in the images for them. That way we don't have to go through that stuff, right? Because we all know how to put in the images by now, right? And so now we're going to lay this out across the bottom, just like in Shane Snow's site. All right?
Really nice site, by the way. Thanks for showing that.
Shane Snow's?
Yeah. Really nice.
Awesome. So we're going to... So basically, we're going to make this footer here look like from that to that. All right? Have you done Flex before?
I have.
All right, well, we'll walk through it. All right, so the first thing we want to do is we want to make this, right, have a Flex display, right? So we want the footer, or I'm sorry, we want the UL within the footer to display Flex, right? Everyone got that? So if you can create a CSS rule, yeah, just select, yeah. Beautiful. Display. And remember, we won't worry about the prefixes for right now because we'll use that auto prefix later. So let's save that and see what it looks like. Yep, you got it. And then you can do Command Tab. You got it. Reload that page. You can do Command R there. All right, beautiful. So, well, one thing we want to do, well, first off, we know we displays Flex, displays as a row, right? That's all default. Displays all the Flex items, or Flex start, puts all the items over here to the left, right? And first what we want to do is we want to make sure, didn't you know how to do fixed positioning?
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and make that footer go across the entire page. So fix it to the bottom with 100% width. And then just do, you want to fix it to the bottom of the page. So just do bottom. 0. Yep, you got it. Save that. Beautiful, we got that, right? All right, so so far what we've covered is we've gone through all this stuff on the left in terms of all the items, right? And then on the right, we talked about Flex Basis. Naturally, where's it at? Flex Basis naturally has a width, or a value of auto, but we changed our last items to have the certain percentages we wanted, right? So that one was 75%, one was 25%. That way it would always stay 75 and 25% of that line because we had it no wrap, right? Okay, so what we have is other values we have for the items, the individual items themselves, is we have FlexGrow. So by default, FlexGrow is set to 0, right? And what that means is that it's not going to make the item grow anymore so that it fills the entire line. In other words, it's going to take whatever width that item is. So naturally, all this list item has in here is an image that is 30 by 30, so or 30 by 36, and so it's 30 by 36, right? It's not going to tell it to grow anymore, right? So it's set to 0. Flex shrink, we won't go too much into, but that's if it needs to shrink it down at all, and it's automatically set to 1. That kind of comes in example with yours, Bob's. So it shrank your images down so that it fits within it, right? And then
those are a little bit difficult to wrap your head around. So let me just add kind of like another perspective on it, and I'll maybe help you get your head around it. And I'm still getting my head around it, but my understanding about the way grow and shrink work is you give them numbers. So like let's say like down there in the bottom we have that one footer where we want all of our links, and there's like 4 or 5 items in it. And so for each of the items, each of the flex items, right, you give them like a FlexGrow number. So one item I might give a FlexGrow 1, another item I might give a FlexGrow 2, another item I might give a FlexGrow 3. And so when they start out, right, 3 will be 3 times as big as 1. And 2 is twice as big as 1, right, depending on what number. And as they grow, right, for 3 to continue to stay 3 times bigger than 1, it's got to grow 3 times as much as 1's growing. And so that's where you get the flexing, right? But they're like proportions that you're giving to the items in relation to each other. There's some analogy there too for something else which I can't think of.
And so to go with Todd, the main takeaway from that is that
Your understanding of them?
what?
Is that your
Yeah, and we'll see. That's going to make a lot more sense in like 5 seconds when we give our list items a FlexGrow property, because what I want to get across is that by default, FlexGrow, each item has a FlexGrow of 0. So in other words, it's not going to make those items grow at all. It's just going to go with whatever we've explicitly given it in terms of size or how it fits to its contents. However, if we want them to grow so that they cover the whole line, we have to give them a FlexGrow value, right? So go to the second tab up there. So we want each one of these items to have equal width, right? We want them to share proportionally. We just did 4, so we want each one to be 25% of the page, right? So all we have to do, if you go into the code, because naturally it's not telling these list items, I didn't make them into list items, but these anchor tags, it's not telling them to grow. Oh yeah, I did. It's not telling these anchor tags to grow at all. It's telling them to stay, whatever size they are. But what we'll do is go ahead and do a footer, select, basically do the selector for these anchor tags. So we haven't done one yet. And then do FlexGrow and set it to 1. Save that. We'll do that in a second. Save it. Our page. All right. I do that all week. All right, beautiful. So originally it was a FlexGrow of 0. That's the default value. Now that we've given it a FlexGrow of 1, we've said that we want to, and can you just inspect one of those just so we can, highlight over it and see the widths? So just roll over one of those anchor links, the A tags. All right, so 25% of the page, 25% of the page, 25% of the page. right? So what you're telling Flex by giving each of these items a grow of 1 is it's saying, I want you to grow the size of these items so that between all of them they cover the whole page. They go the full width of the container, and in our case, the body is the parent element the footer is the full width of the page, right? So we want it to go the full width, and we want to give each one equal width, because we gave each one a 1, so it's just going to split it up equally between the 4, so each one's 25% wide, right? So if we wanted to, let's see if, yesterday I was messing up in browser, but give this one specifically a FlexGrow of 2. Flex, yeah, you accidentally pushed G. You good?
Still on the gangster thing. That's the gangster flex.
All right, so for some reason it's not doing it live in the browser. We'll go do it in our code. Go over to our code and change it. Oh, it's because you're on the image, my bad. Go to that anchor link. That one more up, anchor link. Yeah, you good. Now FlexGrow 2. Don't do that because it'll change all of them. All right, so now what you see is this one's twice the size of these other 3, right? Because we gave that one an explicit FlexGrow of 2. So in other words, you can kind of think of this, you can add it up, So we have 1, 2, 1, 1. So my math's right, that's 5. So we're going to have 20%, 40%, 20%, 20%, right? And it's going to resize, like if you resize that window, it'll keep the proportions, 2, 1, 1, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, since we have it 100% width. All right, so let's go ahead and give that footer, a little styling just so we can see it better. Give it a background of white, kind of copy, make it look like Google. So a background of white is really all you need, just so we can see it. Give it a background of white, and then give each of those anchor tags. No, well, okay, so like by default, so whenever you give a display value of flex, right? All its child elements takes all these default values, right? So it already, by default, all those child elements had a flex grow of 0, so they didn't grow at all. Like we didn't tell it to grow to fit the whole line, right? We just kept its original size, right? And then it had a flex shrink of 1. Flex shrink really only comes into play. Bob was showing me a site he was working on, and he did flex, okay? And he had, say, like a box on his site that was like 600 pixels wide, the box was, the flex container was, but he had an image that was like 1,000 pixels wide, and another image that was like 500 pixels wide, right? So together they were 1,500 pixels wide, but the container was only a width of 600 pixels. So flex shrink default value is 1, so it shrunk them the same proportion. Like it didn't shrink one twice as much as it did the other one if you gave one a 2 versus a 1, right? So flex shrink is probably the most complex one to wrap your head around. I don't really mess, I just keep it at 1. I've never changed it from that. But the flex grow, you can see that makes it so that it covers the whole page, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and
Beautiful.
what I was reading about
And give that footer like, I don't know, make it like 60 pixels
there's a lot
height.
of confusion about the difference between grow and shrink, and most people don't use grow and shrink at the same time, and most people don't use shrink. And the general view on grow versus shrink is they do the exact same
Thanks.
thing, right? You can either use grow or shrink. It's kind of like saying you want to look at it from the front or the back, two sides of the coin, right? But it's, they're going to grow up and
Hey, will you go back? Go
It's
back
usually
over
just
to
set,
to the site
one auto.
and
And that's what the basis
open
comes
up
in.
this
The
tab,
basis is how they start out.
complete guide, and let me get these
There's
down.
the basis is that top thing. If you set basis to 0, the extra space around the content's not factored in. If you set the auto, the extra space is distributed based on the FlexGrow value. So I think auto's default, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 0, 1 auto.
So we have justify content. Scroll down a little bit. I'm going to write these all down. Justify content. Keep going down. Line items. Yeah. Line items. Go down one more. It should be like line content. And I'm missing one at the top. Is it align? Is it justify items? Go to the very top. What am I missing? Sorry. Extraction, FlexGrow app. Justify content. Line content, line items. Oh, yeah, like you said, flex direction, my bad. All right, cool. All right, so now what we want to do is go back to the block. Well, first off, what's our main axis with this footer we're doing right now? Row, right? So main axis, left to right. What's our cross axis? Column, right? Up and down. And scroll down to align items. And so remember, align items is individual, right? Or when I mean individual, individual on that axis, individual. So since our cross axis is columns, it's individual per columns. And then this is for the whole chunk. So now let's go to our blog template. If we want to put each of these images so that they align in the middle, center, height-wise, what are we going to use? Yeah, so we got the cross, we're going to use the cross axis, right? We're going to use one of these for the cross axis, and we want to align them on just one row, right? There's not multiple rows, so we're just going to use align items. So align items, center.
Can you just show people, including myself, the difference between line items and line content in the picture?
Yeah, so it's hard in this picture.
The CSS tricks page, Gentry.
Third one.
And there's line items.
Yeah, so see, this is across the row, right? You're aligning them. And now if you had multiple rows, so if you scroll down a little bit. So if you had, align content is if you had multiple rows, right? That didn't go the whole thing, then that's like the chunks versus singular. Align items, would do this one single line, whereas align content is the whole body of the work.
So I just totally had like one of those moments where it's like, aha, and it's like, why didn't I see that before? But align items is item, individual, right? What you just wrote. Align content is
The entire chunk of content, right?
It also matches up nicely with justified content. It's the same thing for putting indexes.
yeah. Nice.
So let's go ahead and do a line item center within the footer UL, where you do the flex. Plural. And then let's see it. Did we not save it? Oh, it's because we got to make that UL the same height as the footer. Save that. Go back over.
Huh?
Save that and go back over. Beautiful. And then if we wanted each of these to go in the middle, just do text align center. All right, because if we did justify content, it goes the full width, so it's not going to put it in the middle. It's not going to put the content within it. Yeah, reload it. There we go. So now if you scroll over each one, we have it in fourths. All right, we have any questions on that?
Yeah, can you just bring up the CSS?
Yeah.
So your footer has display flex with footer UL.
Let's do
And
this
then
too.
for the entire container, you have align items center, which vertically aligns them, right? Each of the items in the center, vertically aligns in the center, correct? Line 180.
I'm sorry, I was watching what he was doing. What did you just say? Align item center.
Vertically aligns in the center.
Yep, on the cross axis.
And then
Right.
102, text align center. Why didn't you use, isn't there some way with Flexbox to put each item in the middle?
Let's do,
I'm just curious, like, because justify content is for the entire grouping, right? So for the entire grouping, justify content, we put justify content.
Space around.
Where, did we use justify content again? We didn't, did we?
no.
So maybe instead of text
Like,
align,
so
we do
take that text align and replace it with justify content.
justify content.
The next row, 102.
Space around.
Oh, text align center.
You can just comment it out because it's going to be justify content space around.
Do this.
All right, good. Yeah,
Do center.
Daniel's saying space around, so that's odd though. That might
Reload.
that's a good answer.
All right, so now do space around. Try space around. Not that. Change center to space around, sorry. Justify content and then center.
Gentry, if you need a job as a typist, let me know.
Yeah, save. He's just giving you slack. Reload the page. All right, so the reason why is because since we've done FlexGrow, right, it covers the whole page. Like these elements together cover the whole page. So it's not going to matter if we did Flex Start for the justify content, center, or space around. There's not going to be any space around it. So because they're each 25% of the page, right? So there's not going to be any space around it. I mean, you could do to put it in the middle. Why is it no longer in the middle on the cross axis? But to put it in the middle, you could then, do you could have each individual item have a display of flex, and then the content inside of that, which is the image or the text, you could do, since it's only one piece, you could do justify content and align content to be center on both of those, and then it would center it as well.
Text line center is easy.
Yeah, text align center is an easiest. What?
Can you show the CSS
I'm gonna cut here.
again?
Okay,